met up with my team recently in our London office, and over that 2 days, the topic of books came up. More specifically, books to help you become a better recruiter. And it was a great chat, and I realized that I try to read a lot of books. I typically read a book every 2 weeks, and a few times out over the 10 years I've been in recruiting, I read a lot of books. And so off the back of that last week, I've been thinking about my top books to recommend. And for a bit of inspiration, I was looking at other websites that list the 10 books recruiters should read and things like that. And I noticed all the ones I'm about to suggest today aren't really mentioned. I'm also aware that we don't have a lot of time on our hands, so I'm going to just list the books below in the comments, or actually I'm just going to flash them up on screen right now so you can pause and have a look. So coming up first, to help you improve your networking skills, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is a classic. It was written in 1936, so the language is a little bit archaic, but it's such a short book, so you can blast through it incredibly quickly. And even though it's coming up to 90 years old, the lessons still ring true because it's about humans and human nature and how we interact. And so much of the recruiter's job is winning over friends and influencing people. It's a must read. To help you improve your selling skills, I highly recommend reading Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. And there's a lot of sales books out there, but this one stuck in my mind. I remember reading it in my early days in recruitment agency, and I still use that SPIN acronym to help me sell now. Diversity inclusion is incredibly important in the hiring process. I think one of the best ways to improve your skills and open your mind is to hear the opinions of others. So that's why I'm going to choose Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Reni, Eddo-Lodge. It's another short book, but it's incredibly impactful and will undoubtedly, regardless of your race, will undoubtedly get you thinking about race and how it impacts everything we do in our society. And the more conscious you are of it, the better you can become, and the better you can talk about it and implement it into the workplace. Improving processes and just being more productive in general is always going to be important, and that's why I'm choosing Rework by David, Heinemeier, Hansson and Jason Fried. What I love about this book is that it speaks very directly and bluntly about how processes can become bloated with stuff that just isn't necessary. A great example from this book is just doing away with meetings or making meetings as lean as possible. There are plenty of nuggets of information that you can take away from this one, and for that it's a must read if you want to become more productive or just improve your processes. Recruiters write all the time, whether it's writing job descriptions, writing emails out to candidates, or writing social media posts. We're doing it all the time, and so improving your writing ability is really key to becoming a great recruiter. And in my opinion, a great book to read is Nobody Wants to Read Your Shit by Stephen Pressfield. Apologies for swearing. Stephen spent his whole career writing scripts for Hollywood and coaching business leaders and coaching other writers in general. And he really makes you think about how you can have the same or more impact with fewer words. Next up is not just a must for recruiters, but also a must for anyone that's in HR or people organizations, and that's Work Rules by Laszlo Bock. When he was writing it, he was the SVP of People Operations at Google. What this book does is lays out exactly how Google hires, runs its culture, runs its workplaces. Actually backs it up with some amazing case studies and data as well. So yeah, I just think there's plenty of amazing lessons of it. Like Google knows how to hire the best and also has some of the best workplaces and happiest workers in the world still since he wrote this book. And I think there's plenty of lessons to pick up. Unconscious bias is a topic that comes up a lot in recruiting, and rightfully so. We are constantly assessing people, and those assessments can largely be led and hindered by unconscious bias. And now Malcolm Gladwell wrote an incredible book called Talking to Strangers. In fact, to be honest, I highly recommend you read anything by Malcolm Gladwell. They're all fantastic. I think I've read 5 now. But the reason why I've highlighted talking to strangers is that it's really specific for what we're doing. It talks about when you meet someone for the first time, what are those first impressions? Why are those first impressions formed, both positive and negative? And how to be aware of those impressions and how you can become better at talking to strangers and, importantly for us, assessing strangers. The next one is Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. Sorry for swearing once again. The reason why I included this one is because if you're in recruiting, you're very, very likely just to be interested in work and the history of work and jobs in general. What I do love about this book is that it highlights how in modern society there are plenty of jobs that could quite happily just not exist, and if they're removed from companies or they've just moved altogether, things could continue as normal. And yeah, it has some really interesting and funny case studies in there, and yeah, I don't necessarily think is going to like impact how you work day to day, but I'm sure it can arm you with plenty of anecdotes, and maybe even while you're out there searching for candidates or assessing roles within your own company, maybe you can start to identify if there are any bullshit jobs in your company. Now my last one is a work of fiction, so it's purely for entertainment purposes, and this is Headhunters by Nesbø. And it's about a recruiter. It's more like a bit of a psychological thriller. They turned it into a film, so can't be bothered to read it. Go watch the film. And yeah, I'll just leave it there. It's enjoyable, and it happens to be about a recruiter or a headhunter. So for that, as a recruiter, you might be interested. So there we have it. There's my 9 recommendations for you. Maybe you'll add them to your reading list as we go into 2023. I hope so. And if there's any I missed, in fact, I know for a fact I've missed loads. So please do let me know in the comments what books you would recommend the most. And if you're a recruiter and you specifically think there are books out there that can really help you improve as a recruiter, then please do comment below. Thanks very much, and see you in the next one.